Hello guys, here we are in the Great War Redux in Hearts of Iron 4, and we're gonna play as Russian Empire, as the Nikolaus II, or how we call it in Russia, Nikolai. Brief history. Recent years have not been kind to Russian Empire. With a major military defeat at the hands of Japan, it was a brutal defeat. We lost around 10 times at the surface and one really big defeat at Tsushima. Maybe you know this game, Ghosts of Tsushima. This is the island where we lost all of our Baltic fleet. Tsar into a constitution. It wasn't really a constitution. Nikolai II gave a manifesto. It's called Manifesto of 17th of October. He gave some freedoms, political, unions, freedom of speech, freedom of thought, so on. But also he gave parliament, but not in a real democratic way. There will be 4 dumas at the time of Nikolai. 2 of them, first one and the second one, will be shut down by the government, by the Nikolai himself. I would say something like semi-constitutional monarchy. The Russian government must get back on its feet and prove its strength again, or risk revolution. Luckily, the Balkans are turbulent again. I don't think that it's really lucky, because Russia died in that war. The crumbling Ottoman Empire is Russia's opportunity to expand, create new puppet states, and more importantly prove it is still a world power. Yeah, there were plans to divide Ottoman Empire and to give Constantinople to the Russian Empire, to Nikolai II. Okay, let's go. Iron Man mode on. Historical focuses on. We're gonna play somewhat historical game, but I think we're gonna win World War I. This mod is pretty easy, but there is no soft attack or breakthrough, so you need to be a little bit more creative to find what's imbalanced in this mod. First of all, we have a focus tree. We have historical path, somewhat historical. So we can convene State Duma, we can go Centrist Duma. So the middle ground, this Duma was a little bit to the right. The right in Russia in that time were very, first of all, anti-Semitic, and second of all, they were pro-Tsar. And some Democrats, Oktyabrist and Cadet, constitutional Democrats. We see this focus, 20 years of peace. It's a really good Easter egg. So as you can see here, we have a Pyotr Stolypin. Pyotr Stolypin was a very great guy. I think it was one of the best government officials in all of the Russian Empire's history. Why he was so great? Okay guys, I had to re-record this part about Stolypin's reform because I screwed everything up. The main problem of Tsarist Russia was the peasants. Serfdom had long been abolished, but the peasants were given land on credit. But it was almost impossible to pay off this credit in the conditions of rural life. There was another problem. In the European part of Russia, there was no unoccupied land left. In addition, there was not enough land because families easily had 5 to 10 children, which after a generation terribly fragmented the communal land. Naturally, many peasants were unhappy with this situation and went into revolutionary activities. Stolypin understood that in order to dissuade rural residents from the revolution, they needed to be provided with land, make them prosperous. A rich farmer cannot be a revolutionary, he will be a conservative. This was the essence of Stolypin's reform. First of all, new affordable debts with low interest rates, so everyone can afford some land. If you have no land, you can go to Siberia. Because in Siberia land was very cheap. Acres of land were given. No more communal land, only privately owned. Because we wanna make rich farmers. Also agricultural education, which was very important to make these rich farmers competitive. But for this we need 20 years of peace. Also there is a planes branch, navy branch and army branch. Okay, what is more interesting? There is a lot of political advisors. Some of them pretty famous. For example, Viktor Chernov. Viktor Chernov was the main guy in this party, SR, Socialist Revolutionaries. And he was actually bombing people. Not him exactly. He was the main in party, but there was a terrorist organization in this party. It was secret. And you see this guy, Boris Savinkov. Maybe you know him from other mods. He was the main guy who killed a lot of officials in Russia by the bombs. Okay, who we got more? You can see Grigory Rasputin. Grigory Rasputin, and this is absolutely genius, look at this, does not have political advisor Pyotr Stolypin. Pyotr Stolypin and Grigory Rasputin hated each other. Pyotr Stolypin wanted him, Grigory Rasputin, out of capitals, out of St. Petersburg, out of Moscow. Why? Because he thought that it was really bad for the popularity of the Tsar. Stolypin wanted Grigory Rasputin back to his home. Where did he live? He lived there, Tobolsk. You see, you cannot pick Pyotr Stolypin and Grigory Rasputin together. This is a really good historical thing. We can see Pavel Milyukov. He was the main guy in Constitutional Democrats. We can see Alexander Kerensky, but it's too early for him. This mod also has a lot of great generals. We see Nikolai Nikolaevich Romanov. He was the uncle of Nicholas II, and Nicholas II, I think, envied Nikolai Nikolaevich. Why? Because Nikolai Nikolaevich, I will show you the photos, he was 6'6", maybe, really brutal, really popular at the army, and in the first part of the war, 1914, 1915, he was the chief of the army. He was very popular. Also, we can see here Alexei Brusilov. We can see Lavr Georgich Kornilov. He is more of the Civil War guy. And Denikin also in the Civil War. But these two people also participated in the First World War. Alexander Kolchak. This guy from Transamur, from other mods. Yes, we had this guy, and he was the admiral. But he was the admiral Black Sea Navy. He was actually a really interesting person, because when Alexander Kolchak was captured by the Bolsheviks here in Irkutsk, he understood that he will be shot. He started to dictate an autobiography. You can read it if you want, so it's saved through the time, and he speaks a lot in it about his hobby. He was the admiral, so he was pretty talented admiral, but also he was oceanologist. You can see that's the other side of him. He was a little bit of the scientist. 20 years of peace first. Also pretty weird, I see blob of Austria. There should be a puppet, like Hungary, but Galicia Lodomeria. Yeah, you see, but there is no such country in it. Pretty strange. In this mod, there is a huge problem with soft attack. Look at this. 32 width, 33 soft attack. But really huge defense. 20 years of peace finished. National entrepreneurship. Boo! Okay, national entrepreneurship is ready. We have a really good buff. 5 stability. And we go for Sentry's Duma. You can also pick Silent for Horse. Okay. Oh, and this thing that I remember in this mod, you see we're burning infantry equipment just from training. And crash the strike movement finished. Oh, French loan. Yeah, you see that's the main reason why Russian Empire was in Entente. Because a lot of debts came from France and the UK. Almost all of them from France. Okay, maybe someone asked, why don't we go howitzers? And I want to show you. We have much more soft attack. Yes. But defense is bad, and also production cost twice the artillery. And if we look, for example, for that artillery, we will have it. You can see almost matching. But production cost twice lower. So they nerfed howitzers. They were absolutely imbalanced maybe a year or two ago, but now they're piece of trash. Okay, we're gonna go for Tula arm plant because historically Tula was the first place in Russia where we build manufacturers. Uh-oh, it happened. Russian Prime Minister Pyotr Stolypin died after the assassination attempt. He was killed in the Kiev Opera House. He was killed by the guy called Dmitry Bagrov. Dmitry wore a police uniform, and when the opera started and it was entr'acte, it was the pause between the plays, Dmitry Bagrov came to Stolypin and shot him at point blank 5 or 6 times. One of the greatest imperial governors died that day. I really do not understand why somebody would pick Grigory Rasputin, because backroom backstabber is really not a good trait. Maybe he could give some political power, then you want to pick him, but right now you don't want to pick him. Okay, we're gonna pick Imperial Army rearmament. It has been clear for a while that our weaponry is not on par with those of our potential adversaries. It was a really big problem in the beginning of World War I. Russian army had no rifles, Russian army had no artillery shells. It's even called something like shell hunger. It's a historical term in Russia. In 1915, we had no artillery shells to fire. Absolutely zero. And not all the soldiers had rifles and ammo and so on. So the thing that you saw in the last video about Stalingrad, yeah, Call of Duty Stalingrad, that part was about this time period. I don't need to go support weapons free. Look at this. 2% more defense, 2% more breakthrough. People who lived at that time called Laver Kornilov like a raging bull. His tactic was to go somewhere. He was right here in Carpathian Mountains in 1915, 16 and so on. So he was like raging bull, he was coming through enemy lines like knife through butter. But then when he reached these places after the Carpathian Mountains, he was encircled and was captured and then escaped. So he was a madman. Old but mad. Old but gold. It's time to restore peace in Persia. Maybe we will even give them some prince. Look at this lad. Look at this dude. Underage monarch. We're gonna beat your ass. Okay, Persian campaign. Border war? And also, I have 1,500 hours in this game and I do not know how border conflicts work. Let's take a look, let's take a look. Come on, few good rolls. If you do not know, under this bubble are rolls from their side and from my side. So it's a little bit of the gambling. Oh, Balkan War. Balkan War is pretty good because we can go partial. Support the Balkan League. Okay. I have deficit of everything. I don't know what I sent to them. Yeah, Baku oil fields. Interesting fact. Here in Baku, there is a lot of oil. And first oil fields in Russian Empire were situated right here. And this is where young Stalin comes in the history books. Because he lived in Baku and he was organizing some raids and he was agitating for the workers who worked in oil fields. They had a huge strike for a lot of years. Baku oil fields workers were one of the biggest problem of Russia at the time. Ooh, French investments in Yuzovka. The Russian Mining and Metallurgical Union was founded in 1910. Coal mines of Ukraine. Yeah, Donbass, Donetsk region. Maybe you heard of it because of some events right now, yes. Somewhere like here. Oh, Second Balkan War. Let's go. Let's go. Poor Ferdinand. And now we can pick our terrorist. Because we're almost at the Army Experience Cup. So we need to hurry up. Oh my god. How many divisions does he have? Think I can lose some tiles, guys. Oh. How can I join? Call me. Start mobilization. Serbia refuses Austrian demands. Uh-oh. The war to end all wars. We should be holding, I think. I don't think they have much of a firepower. No, they have some. Okay, let's take a look. Green bubbles? Green bubbles everywhere. Oh, and they also have a two front war. Maybe... I don't know. Everything seems awesome. Historically, Russian forces in 1914 captured few important command posts. For example, Lemberg. They sieged it for a long time and then they took it. And Przemysl, you got through Carpathian Mountains at some point. But then Germany understood that they stalled on the river Marne. Right here, yes? Somewhere close to Paris, right here. I don't know, I think I am massacring Germans. 37k, 258k before the leaves fall. Yes, it's a well-known fact that a lot of people in Germany, in France, in Belgium, in Russia thought that it will be a very quick war, that it will end maybe in few months. No one's expected that it will be a war that will shatter 4 empires and kill millions of people. I forgot it, guys. But maybe it's not that scary. And a little bit less attrition. As you can see, Ottoman Empire stalled immediately. German Empire cannot capture even the one tile. This mod is pretty easy. Oh, we can rename St. Petersburg into Petrograd. St. Petersburg is a German name, and now Petrograd, which means the city of Petr. Actually, I like this name a lot. I lived in St. Petersburg. I was born there. And from 3 names, St. Petersburg, Petrograd, and Leningrad, I think Petrograd, which I like the most. And I think we need another army just to secure Romania, because she will enter the war in next year. Oh, Italy. You're not really prepared, are you? Okay. Now the real thing begins. But for this we need to pick... Oh, Grand Duke Alexei, a reformer, plus 15, so it's like 42 daily, maybe 43 even. Wait, they should kill Grigory Rasputin in a month. Let's see. Also, what's the difference? So I get a lot of equipment, and here I get a lot of buffs. Beware the tank. United Kingdom invented a tank, and in Russian Empire they killed Rasputin. Priorities. It's just a mess, absolute mess with the supply. I would rather not look into it. Oh, Great Arab Revolt. Lawrence of Arabia. Somewhere here, I guess. Oh, guys, we have a juicy encirclement. No. This is a masterpiece. How many divisions are there? 30 here, 40 here. Okay. Let's make a picture on Reddit. Fell of Königsberg. Now we call it Kaliningrad. But Kalinin was a Bolshevik, so I suggest we call it Nikolaevsk. Let's wait for the casualties. Are there any... A little bit of Bulgarians, but mostly Germans. Oh, Romania, Romania, Romania. In the February of 17? If I remember correctly, it was the 16th. That's it? Okay, let's take a look. Almost a million men. 800,000. Not bad, not bad, if I can say so myself. Hey people, don't forget to subscribe. I stole you. Op, op. Vive la France, vive la France. I did all the dirty work. Armistice at Compiègne. We need our course. Let's capture Vienna. Okay. Follow Vienna. Oh, peace conference. Oh no. I don't know, I have Constantinople. I have strange bits. Okay, for example, this one, yeah, the Kars Fortress, most famous in all of the Ottoman Russian wars. But Trebizond, okay, maybe some Greek population, something like that. But this and this looks absolutely terrible. Here we are. I wanted to maybe... Oh wait, I can make a constitutional government. Okay, let's try. I never done it before. I always, when I played, I always went for resist the Duma, orthodoxy, autocracy, nationality. Why? Because I really like Nikolai II. A lot of people give him some slack. They are talking about how he was really weak and really stupid, and maybe Grigory Rasputin made some bad things with his wife. I think that none of these things are true. I think he was a really decent human being. He was very religious man. He wasn't a weak man. For example, what my father did, we had a lot of letters between Nikolai and his ministers and his wife, Alexandra Fedorovna. And nobody took them to see what Nikolai was about. And my father, he's a doctor of history. He took all those letters, he read them, and he made an analysis of this. He told me that Nikolai was a very, maybe even arrogant man. He made decisions on his own. Sometimes Alexandra Fedorovna, his wife, or Grigory Rasputin tell him something like, you need to appoint this minister, and he ignored it. He do not even answer such letters. So he was not a weak man. Maybe he had some envy in him. For example, for this lad, yes? For Nikolai Nikolaevich. Yes, he was tall, he was big, he was very professional, he was very popular in army. And Nikolai, I think, always dreamed about it. So that's how it goes. Okay, let's make a constitutional government. Nikolai's bad dream. Okay, League of Nations. Wow! What? Call for embargo of my puppet? No, I don't think so. Who started it? Romania started it. I'm calling for embargo on Romania. Mexico. Okay, we can embargo somebody. Wait, and Romania is embargoed? Yes. Okay, we can embargo maybe, I don't know, France. Okay. Okay, let's do it. Whoa, we are constitutional government. Okay, I don't think there will be anything funny or interesting in this focus tree. So here we are, guys.